Hari Om. Let's start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidwaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanora Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Gurudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are now doing the Panchadashi 10th chapter and we are at sloka 4. Let's chant that one. Advayananda Rupasya Advayananda Rupasya Sadvayatvam cha Dukkhita Sadvayatvam cha Dukkhita Bandha Prokta Swarupena Bandha Prokta Swarupena Sitihi Muktiritiriyate Sitihi Muktiritiriyate. Together. Advayananda Rupasya Sadvayatvam cha Dukkhita Bandha Prokta Swarupena Sitihi Muktiritiriyate. So this chapter is called Nataka Deepa Prakarana, and this is description of the life itself as the Natakam, as the drama, provided I can stand apart and look at and enjoy the drama. And even while playing the drama, I play as a role, taking the particular roles given by the script. The script being either the prarabdha karma of myself as well as the total karma of all jivas put together in the form of the world. And I am playing in that stage, illumined by the consciousness that which is all pervading, that is which is eternally present, that which is Satchidananda Swarupam. So starting with the pure Satchidananda, how the stage is being built up has been described in terms of how one became many. The whole universe is nothing but, in the first sloka itself, Swayameva Jagat Bhutva, having become the whole world. Here the world is the word is nothing but having become. That means I cannot see Brahman anymore. He has already become many. So if I want to see Brahman or recognize Brahman, I had to recognize Brahman in and through the many only. So that's important to know, that I am looking for Brahman, but I am looking for some experience or somewhere, but every object that I am perceiving is nothing but Brahman. All I need is a clear vision that what I am seeing is Brahman in various names and forms. So every form is nothing but Brahman, but one form differs from the other for different reason. Why? That's called creation, and creation is based on the karma and so on and so forth. That scripture gives an elaborate description of how one became many using a maya. So here, Swamayaya, so Swayameva Jagat Bhutva, Swamayaya, that's in the first verse. So Paramatma Advayananda Purna Purvam Swayamaya. Purvam means in the beginning, before you see everything, Swayameva Jagat Bhutva. And then also entering into the individual body, mind, intellects as the Jiva. And the body, mind, intellect differ from one to the other. Differences is due to prarabdha karma. Prarabdha karma is nothing but a balance of punyam and papam. So every jiva has a quota account of punyam and papam, which we call total account is called sanchita karma. Of that sanchita karma, you are bringing only that part of karma that is ready to fructify. So only that part of punyam and papam that's ready to fructify, and I bring in, and I had to take a birth conducive to exhausting those punyam and papam. So I am particularly born in a particular place, to a particular parents, and in a particular environment with appropriate body, mind and intellect. My body may be defective, that's because of my own prarabdha karma. It's not that God decided to have a different types of bodies. People ask, if there is a God, how can there be people with all sorts of defects and all that? If he is so compassionate, why didn't he create properly? Therefore there is no creation or there is no God. Therefore, in fact, is a creation. Because of the disparities are coming from, and there is no reason why there should be any disparities like that. Some people born with golden spoon, some people born with a wooden spoon, some people with no spoon at all. And these disparities cannot be randomly, you can say randomly distributed, but random only can be talked about, as statistics can be talked about only for a behavior of a collective things. You cannot talk about the statistics for a behavior of an individual because why am I born with these defects and so on, if one asks, and why is he born in a rich place and everything else, that itself proves that there is a reason, cause for everything. Because we know for every effect there has to be a cause. Causation hunting is the navigation of an intellect. As far as scientist can only survive because he wants to know what's the cause for the observation. Because there has to be a cause for the effect. If this is an effect of disparities in the births, there has to be a cause for it. So for that only the objective sciences cannot find it and cannot have the tools to find it. Not that it can find it, cannot even think of finding it, because it's only objective tools which can only observe the data that can be observed through the eyes or ears and so on and so forth. Pratyaksha pramanam. He's going to talk about that in the next few slokas. But having given that, for the prarabdha karma, depending upon the account balance of my punyam and papam for that life that I am bringing in, I will be born in a particular place and an environment, and there are 14 lokas that are being described, and depending upon the higher lokas and lower lokas, depending upon the quota, the balance of punyam and papam. Higher the punyam, higher the lokas, higher the papam, greater the papam, the lower is the life forms. And even in this world itself, you can see there are varieties and varieties of jivas, starting from amoeba all the way to human being. Therefore, that disparity is coming from the quota of punyam and papam. And therefore, he says that even the Vishnu Lord, starting from Vishnu, all to Martyas and Adhamas, all our varieties are not due to the Satchidananda variety, there is no variety in that, but due to the differences in the equipments, the body, mind, intellect, which is a result of punyam and papam of the jiva. So having created 14 worlds and having created different jivas according to their prarabdha karma, as though consciousness entered into age, or Ishvara entered into age as a jiva. Entering is nothing but infinite cannot enter anything because it's already infinite. Like as though space entered into the pot. So what do you mean by space entered into the pot? Space is all pervading. Yet we can say when the pot maker is making a pot, space is entering into the pot. Because now we have a pot space different from the total space. Ghata akashaha, mahakashaha. This has been discussed earlier in the 6th chapter of Panchadashi by Vidyaranya. So therefore, understanding that there are the prior differences of this and recognizing this, one, by devotion, I recognize that I am identifying myself with the body, mind, intellect because of not knowing. So ajnana, because of the ajnana, that means not knowing that I am pure consciousness as though entered into it. So how this happens? This happens just like the dream. So when I'm dreaming, I created myself a dream world based on the suppressions and oppressions of the waking state, which is vasanas. And that forms a nidra shakti, maya shakti of the dream, and creates a dream world. And the dream world is having an avarana and vikshepa. Avarana means covers my real nature, that I am a waker sleeping in an AC room, air conditioned room. But I am dreaming as though I am in the hot sun in the forest, running away from saving myself from the tiger that is chasing me. So even though I am in the AC room comfortably sleeping there, in the dream world I am running to save myself in the hot sun. Hot sun, bright sun is different contradiction to the dark room that I am sleeping. Yet a dreamer doesn't see any contradiction, because the waking world is covered. I am in the dream world, and creating a dream world, I entered into the dream subject, and then forget that I am the one who created the forest and the tiger also, and now I am trying to pray the Lord, oh please save me from this tiger. All that is crystal clear for a dreamer. Dream is not a dream as long as he is in the dream. You don't say to a dreamer running there, say, this is all a dream, don't run from the tiger, it's your own creation. He says, I can listen to your Vedanta later, first let me save myself. So therefore, in order to get the discriminative intellect, because in the case of dream world, you have to be awake to discover that the whole thing is not really real, even though it was experientially real. So therefore, to be awakened to the higher state of understanding, that I have to get out of the dream world, that means I have to drop the body, mind, intellect of the dream and take a back where I am in the back in the air-conditioned room. Whereas in the waking state is somewhat similar, but yet I don't have to drop the waking body, my intellect to realize. Here itself I can, ihaiva, here itself I can recognize my real nature by developing a discriminative intellect, and that comes by aneka janma bhajanat swavicharam chakirshid. Discriminative capacity comes only when the mind is purified, and the mind is purified by karma yoga or upasana yoga through bhakti, because for karma and upasana I have to bring Ishvara there. So bhakti becomes an important vehicle for purification of the mind. Having that, one has to inquire what is the cause for my samsara, and that's being addressed in this sloka that we chanted. Advayananda rupasya sadvayatvam cha dukkitaham. Even though it is one, advayam means non-dual, that means ekameva advitiyam, that is one without a second. There is no sajati, vijati, swagata beda. So ekam eva advitiyam, all the three words mean the same, but Shankara defines that scripture using specifically three words to indicate that one is there is no vijati beda, one is there is no sajati beda, another is there is no swagata beda. So no difference of any kind, that is pure Satchidanandam. In the pure existence there cannot be any difference. In the pure consciousness, the scripture says that even though I think I am conscious, he is conscious, we are trying to differentiate, but the scripture says prajnanam brahma, consciousness is one, infinite. And Ananda means limitless, because any limitation causes happiness, that means it's infinite. And that is coming from the scriptural statement through the Vedantic study. So Advayananda Rupasya, even though its nature is of the nature of pure Satchidanandam, which is infinite, Sadvayattam cha dukkitaha, it has become many. When it became many, there are upper and Dvaita. Because many means one is different from the other. Now we have Sajati Vijati Swagata Vedas now, which is not there in the original. So where did the differences come? How did the differences come? Differences came because of the creation, and the creation came because of karma. So even though Lord can create anything, but his hands are tied by the total karmas of all jivas put together, form the basis for the creation itself. So sadvayatvam, so the duality or plurality has become now as because of the creation. I cannot but see the duality through BMI. So BMI means body, mind, intellect. When I am seeing the duality, the problem is not the problem. This is an Ishvara Srushti that I am seeing. The problem is not with the Ishvara Srushti per se, because it's a beauty that there is a variety. Because every leaf in the tree is different, and every flower is different, and there is a beautiful creation everywhere. And looking at the beautiful creation, I don't have to criticize the Ishvara Srushti, but the problem comes is on top of Ishvara Srushti, there is a Jiva Srushti. Jiva Srushti is I superimpose my Raga Dveshas on top of the Ishvara Srushti. I see a beautiful flower. Flower itself is a creation of the Lord, and it's a beautified. But when I plug it, I want it. So I'm trying to put, this is mine, and that somebody else took my flower, and so on. This is called Ahankara and Mamakara is coming. Because I like this and I don't like that, the likes and dislikes, this is called Ahankara, Mamakara, and Raga and Dvesha. These are called four, we call it Dishta Chatushtayam, the four Dushta, those four things that need to be avoided. But they are there because of my prarabdha karma also. That means my likes and dislikes are my vasanas. So I am superimposing on top of Ishvara Srushti my own likes and dislikes, and therefore I like this, I don't like it, I hate this, I love this, and so on and so forth, and that becomes a samsara. So sadvayatvam cha dukkhitaha. Why I take this? Because I am now looking at the world and say that this is real. So is it real or not? It's real enough for me to see. Don't say that it's not real. We said that the Berkeley philosophy that called idealism says this is not really real. That's what his statement was. Even Vijnanavada of the Buddhism says this is not really real, but it's a projection of the mind. Projection of whose mind? It's, say somebody took the stone, they say this, when the stone is not real, he took the stone and hit him, and say, to see now, do you think that that is real or not? So what is real enough, one can hit, one can eat, one can see, one can perceive, one can use, and so on and so forth. So perceptibility, because I can perceive differences in that. Utility, because this is useful and that's not useful. And experienceability, I can experience this one. All that are not criteria for reality. They are only criteria that it is apparently real. The same is because of, compared to dream world, where I can see the tiger, I can experience the food, dream food, and the dream clothes, and so on. So experienceability, perceptibility, all that was not enough for establishing the reality of the dream world. Therefore, even though I am seeing it and I am using it, but transacting with it, because I am running away from in the forest. Forest is real, tiger is real, water is real, and the dream hospitals are real, dream doctors are also real. And dream medicine is also, and dream diseases goes away by dream medicines only. And the dream sun is real because it's bright there. Therefore, all that is real, but real enough for me to experience, but not really real, because when I am awakened to the waking state, I say oh, that was not real. Waker says the dream world is not real, not the dreamer. But in the waking state is also similar, because we say it's real because of experienceability, perceptibility, and these are being used by the Mahatmas to prove that it is real. Every experience is real, says Advaita. And because I am seeing it, therefore it's real. Says I am seeing it is real, but it's not real enough, because ontologically this reality is of the lower order compared to Brahman. That's why Advaita Vedanta becomes an absolute science. So the problem is not the Ishvara Srushti. Ishvara Srushti, on top of it I am superimposing my ragadveshas and likes and dislikes. So ahankara, mamakara and likes and dislikes or ragadveshas are superimposed on top of the Ishvara Srushti, and that becomes a samsara. So sadvayatvam cha dukkhita, I become suffering because I want to gain this and I want to be happy, and because I feel I am limited by taking myself, I am this body, mind, intellect. So bandhaha proktaha. So this is called bondage. Bondage is notion that the world is real, my body, mind, I am this body, mind, intellect, I am limited by space-wise, time-wise, object-wise, and I am different from him, and so on. Yushmad ashmat pratyaya gocharayoho vishaya vishayinoho tamaprakashavatu viruddha swabhavayoho. So the superimposition of error on top of the reality is done according to the Shankaracharya in the Abhyasa Bhashya. It discusses, and I am superimposing something which is not there. That is because of my ragadveshas, these differences are taken as a real. So the moham, delusion, is not the world, but delusion is that taking the world as real. That's the delusion. And therefore bandha, that is bandhaha proktaha. Swarupena stitihi muktihi tiryate. So stitihi, swarupena stitihi, one's abiding in own nature, that I am. I am what? I am right now this, but I am is pure Satchidananda, which is infinite, aham brahmasmi, and that rupena sthilaha. So recognition that I am Brahman, or claiming that I am Brahman, is essentially muktihi iti iryate. That's what liberation. Bondage is taking myself, I am limited by space-wise, time-wise and object-wise, and I don't like the limitations, and I try to solve the limitations by gaining this, and in the process I develop ragadveshas. And liberation is, I am not this, because this is only an equipment that I can perceive. This is an objectifiable, I am the subject, knower, conscious entity, and any this is unconscious, but I am Satchidanandam. I am of the nature of consciousness, which is itself is Brahman, and that Swarupena Sthitihi, abiding in the knowledge. I know I am conscious entity, but at the same time I think I am limited. So what is the moksha? Liberation is abiding in the knowledge that I am total, aham brahmasmi, iti muktihi, iti, that is sthitihi, abiding swarupena sthitihi. Sthiti means sthita prajnaha, abiding in that. Sthita prajna means knowledge. Sthita prajna means claiming that I am indeed that, is indeed muktihi iti iryate. You go to sloka 5. Avicharakruto bandhaha, avicharakruto bandhaha, vicharena nivartate, vicharena nivartate, tasmad jiva paratmanau, tasmad jiva paratmanau, sarvadaiva vicharayet, sarvadaiva vicharayet. Together, avicharakruto bandhaha, vicharena nivartate, tasmad jiva paratmasau, yes, sarvadaiva vicharayet. So the bondage is now being defined as avicharakrutaha. But due to lack of inquiry. Why should I inquire? Because I am taking something what I am not as I am. So how do I get rid of the bondage? You go to Himalayas, or you go something, or you go here, you go there, and somebody touches on your head, you get liberated. All that doesn't mean anything. Because it says avichara krutaha, you are not inquiring properly. So it is inquiry can only be done by the intellect. It's not sitting on meditation and doing some japa. It is clear analysis. Inquiry means analysis. How do I analyze? Analysis using a mimamsa. Mimamsa means it is inquiring using the appropriate tools of inquiry. That's called Vedanta Vichara, and that's called Mimamsa. So Avichara, if I don't, who am I? Who am I means what? Who am I doing? Sit down and who am I? Who am I? By repeating the who am I, nothing will happen. I have to inquire. So what is inquire? Right now I am this. Because nobody will say, who are you? Do you know who you are? So everybody says, I know I am. That means they already decided that they are what? I am this. They say, do you know who I am? I know who I am. And so what is that who you are? You say, I am this. All this is nothing but inner things, because this is a pointing which is known, and I am separate subject and this is an object. So I cannot be an object, I am a subject. So how can I define myself? I am. You have to find out. That is called inquiry of your nature. Swaswarupena. In order to abide yourself in your own self, you have to know who you are by inquiring. So Vichara, this is done by the Vedanta. It says you are really the totality. So you are infinite. That's what the scripture says. How can I be infinite? I feel so limited, and I am not this. That itself also a limitation, because I am not that. So how can I be infinite? For that only an appropriate inquiry, a mimamsa is required to find out my true nature. And what I rejecting I am not is only superficial entities, but I am the substantive of the whole universe too. When I say gold is not a ring, gold is not a bangle, gold is not a necklace, I am only rejecting the Namarupa, names and forms, but in and through the Namarupa I am identifying that because of the gold ring is, bangle is, necklace is, and without which ring is not, bangle is not, necklace is not. So that substantive is I am, and therefore in order to see that whole universe is I am, I had to know how to do vichara. He's going to do that vichara slowly here. So he's defining the problem here. Says avichara krutaha bandhaha. Bondage is due to lack of inquiry. Hence scripture says you have to inquire. Tad vijnasasva tad brahmeti. That is Brahman. You have to inquire. What is that tat? What is that I have to inquire? From which the whole universe came, by which it is sustained, into which it goes back. Tat vijnasasva, inquire about that, from which the whole universe came, and by which it is sustained, and into which it goes back. That means it's a material cause for the whole universe. From the gold ornaments came, by gold it is sustained, into gold they merge back. Goldsmith, the intelligent cause, the creator of that, is different from the gold, thank God. Because when I buy a gold ring, goldsmith doesn't come with me. Gold only comes. So in this case, the material cause and the intelligence cause are different. Whereas in the case of the absolute creation, because there cannot be two separate causes, because there is only one cause. So one cause itself both acts as an intelligent and material. That's why the Vishnu Sahasranama says, the karanam, karanam, karta. So karta, intelligent cause, the karanam, the material cause, and karanam, the instrumental cause, all are nothing but Lord Vishnu. Only one cause only become many. So for that I need a proper inquiry, and for that only scripture becomes a means of knowledge for me to inquire. Avichara krutao bandha. So bondage is defined as not having, doing, finding out who you are. How do I know why do I need? Because you are taking yourself what you are not as you are. It's obvious that you don't know the truth. Why? Because when I say I am this, obviously there is a mistake, because of confusion, I cannot be this. So because of the inquiry, find out who really you are. Avichara krutaha bandha vicharena nivartate. By inquiring into the truth using a Vedanta pramana, it will be removed. Bondage can be removed. And in the process, tasmat jiva parasmasau sarvat eva vicharayet. Therefore, by inquiry, one has to come to conclusion that there is no difference between the jiva and paramatma. Isha jiva yoho veshadhi bihda sattva bhavato vastu kevaram. Ramana Maharshi says the Ishvara and Jiva are not really different, only their Vesham is different. Remove the Vesham, that's what Vichara required. Remove unnecessarily unwanted distracting things and look at the essence of it. And the essence is nothing but Jiva Paratma Sarva Eva Sarvada Eva Vicharayet. So it's nothing but one and one alone has to be arrived at by proper inquiry. How is to be done is going to be talked about in the next few verses. With this we stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.